Happening today in the town of Paradise, Congressman Doug LaMalfa will announce new money to upgrade the communications for the police department in Paradise. The congressman will be joined by the mayor and police chief at Paradise Town Hall today at noon. The campfire destroyed the department's two-way radio network. This grant money will upgrade the police radios to help keep the town connected with other Butte County responders. Soon, you could get up to $800 from the state to help offset higher gas prices. That is part of Governor Newsom's proposed $11 billion relief package. We broke it down. This plan calls for registered car owners to get $400 per vehicle you own, capped at 2 cars. If approved by lawmakers, you would get a debit card with that money in July. And it includes people who own electric cars, people who don't buy gas. And for people who don't own cars, Newsom also wants the state to pay for their bus and train fare for 3 months. It would also pause the scheduled increase on state taxes on gas. Action News Now is tracking gas prices in our area each and every day. This morning, the average price in California is $5.78, up more than a dime from last week. In CHICO, the average is $5.60, and in Redding, $5.70. And this morning, we have an update on a man missing in Siskiyou County for the last month. Authorities say his body has been found in the Klamath River. We told you about Christopher Aubrey earlier this month, last seen in the Happy Camp area on February 23rd. Deputies said he was going to the Ferry Point area to float across the river. A kayak believed to be his was later found downstream. Just yesterday, the sheriff's office said a family member located Aubrey's body in the water. And in Trinity County, deputies tracked down a man wanted for breaking into a home, a break-in that was caught on camera. Deputies released these surveillance photos from the burglary that happened yesterday on Goose Ranch Road in Lewiston. The security footage showed this man with a red and white motorcycle broke in and then rode off. When the CHP tried to pull him over on Highway 299, they say he abandoned the motorcycle and ran. They did eventually track him down, taking him into custody. In Red Bluff, an admitted arsonist now headed to prison for 5 years. Franklin Gobert was convicted of starting 3 fires in Red Bluff between December of 2020 and July of 2021. When he was arrested last summer, Red Bluff police said Gobert admitted to setting more than 100 fires over 4 years, but said he put most of them out himself. This morning, traffic once again flowing smoothly on Highway 99 in CHICO after a crash caused a big traffic tie-up. I actually got caught up in this traffic jam around 2 yesterday afternoon at the on-ramp to northbound 99 from Highway 32. A Jeep SUV headed northbound was towing this large camper trailer. 2 people were in the Jeep, and they told us they just picked up that trailer a couple of minutes before they lost control on the highway. They walked away with no injuries.
All we know right now is the trailer started to wiggle and caused the combination of vehicles to jackknife. And when they came to rest, they were blocking the 2-lane and the auxiliary lane.
Tires on both vehicles blew out, and there was damage to the side of the SUV, but no other cars were involved. It is 6:08 on this Thursday morning. You know you're never more than 10 minutes away from your local weather on Action News Now. Let's check in with Court Klopping in the Storm Tracker Center to really walk us through the forecast headed into the weekend and if this warm weather is going to last.
Kelly, the good news is if you're a fan of our high temperatures resting in the 80s in the afternoon, you're going to be happy about what's ahead for today. It looks like you're going to stay pretty happy as we head into at least the beginning of your weekend. A live look outside right now. This is that live look from the Falcon View camera, the alert wildfire camera that's located to the west of Redding, looking northeast. So at the right side of your screen here, you can see the city lights of Redding. Overhead, we are still mostly clear with just some thin clouds starting to roll in. We'll be partly cloudy and we'll be very warm again today. Temperatures expected to be almost, if not as warm as what we had yesterday afternoon. So plan ahead for that. If you were uncomfortable with how much you were wearing yesterday, plan accordingly. We're going to stay warm and dry through Saturday, but we'll have fluctuating clouds to start the weekend and increasing clouds through the weekend, and then cooler temperatures by the latter part of the weekend with a chance for showers late this weekend through early next week. Right now, we're in the low to mid 50s in the valley, mostly 50s in the foothills with 20s to 30s in our mountain zones. So an extra layer, not a bad idea, but probably just a light extra layer as you're heading out early today. Winds are out of the northeast and light this morning. We'll have south winds to around 10 miles an hour for the afternoon, so wind's not a big factor in your forecast today. And while we have clear skies for most areas right now, clouds will be filling in very quickly. By 8 a.m., we're already seeing those clouds increasing. By noon, partly cloudy with just some areas of sunshine creeping through, and then more cloud cover for your afternoon hours. But nonetheless, even with the increase in clouds, it's going to be very warm and comfortable today, so not a bad day to head out and fire up the grill for dinner if that's something you've been feeling like doing. Temperatures in the 50s this morning and then topping out in the mid-80s for your afternoon in the valley. Higher elevations starting out the morning in the 20s to 30s, mostly ending up in the mid-60s to mid-70s this afternoon. And your temperature trend, we're staying warm but not quite as warm Friday into Saturday with a sharper drop into the upper 60s to low 70s Sunday and Monday, but then temperatures rebounding back into the 70s to low 80s by Tuesday into Wednesday of next week. Chance for showers also ahead in your late weekend and early next week forecast. I'll take a deeper dive into where showers are looking likely coming up a little bit later.
All right, we hope for those showers. Hope we get a little bit of rain. Thanks, Cord. It is 6:11 on this Thursday morning. Wish it were Friday. After much more information is on the way. Governor Newsom declaring a state of emergency in 16 counties. Coming up, a live update on what prompted this move and the help that's now on the way to our area. Campfire survivors working to rebuild say they're being scammed by unlicensed contractors. And this morning, a warning from Paradise Mayor Steve Crowder. And today, President Joe Biden in Europe meeting with NATO leaders as the U.S. accuses Russia of war crimes in Ukraine. Plus, we'll tell you about the information just coming in about how many Ukrainian refugees could be headed here to the United States. If you miss a single morning, you miss a lot. Action News Now, coming right back. Breaking news in the last hour. A U.S. official has just said the United States will welcome up to 100,000 refugees from Ukraine as 3.5 million flee Russia's invasion. Today, the president of Ukraine will address the NATO summit with President Joe Biden and other Western leaders watching. A series of military and economic actions are expected today as the West pressures Russia to end the war. Bradley Blackburn has the details.
President Biden is meeting with NATO and European allies in Brussels today, a show of unified support against Russia's invasion of Ukraine.
This brutal war in Ukraine would have long-term consequences for our security.
NATO announced it's doubling troop deployments in Eastern Europe. New sanctions against members of Russia's parliament are expected, as well as a plan to reduce Europe's dependence on Russian energy.
The world must stop the war.
In a message posted to social media, Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky noted it's been 1 month since the war began and called on people around the world to publicly show support.
Come to your squares, your streets, make yourselves visible and heard. Say that people matter, freedom matters, peace matters, Ukraine matters.
Ukrainians, many unable to visit their public squares due to Russian shelling, are finding ways to contribute to the war effort. These artists in Kyiv are now producing bulletproof vests.
We are fighting here not even for freedom, but for existence.
Yesterday, the U.S. formally accused Russia's military of committing war crimes, in part for deliberately attacking civilians.
They're suffering at the hands of an aggressive war that was launched unprovoked by Russia.
According to a senior U.S. defense official, Russians have fired more than 1,200 missiles, many hitting civilian sites, including hospitals, apartment buildings, schools, and shopping malls. Bradley Blackburn, CBS News.
Russia has also suffered heavy losses. NATO estimates between 7,000 and 15,000 of its Russian soldiers have been killed in action. You're looking live at the White House this Thursday morning, and you'll notice flags are flying at half-staff there and across the country in tribute to the late Madeleine Albright. She was the first female U.S. Secretary of State. Albright died of cancer yesterday at the age of 84. President Bill Clinton chose Albright as America's top diplomat in 1996. At the time, she was the highest-ranking woman in the history of U.S. government. In 2012, President Obama awarded Albright the Medal of Freedom, the nation's highest civilian honor. Confirmation hearings continue today for President Biden's historic nominee to the Supreme Court. Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson said she'll bring all of her experiences to the bench if she's confirmed. Yesterday, committee Republicans accused Jackson of activism in past decisions and pressed her again on sentencing in past child pornography cases.
I've sentenced more than 100 people. You have 8 or 9 cases in that chart.
Okay, Judge, you said that before. These are the 8 or 9 child porn cases. I will say, to correct the record,
I just say to the judge, there's no point in responding. He's going to interrupt you.
Thank you.
And today, legal experts will join the hearing to weigh in. Even without Republican support, Democrats are confident they have the votes to confirm Judge Jackson to the Supreme Court. Now, a step forward in the pandemic. The CDC said it appears the U.S. is getting the upper hand. Experts now predict fewer than 13,000 people may die from the virus over the next 4 weeks, and that's nearly a 50% drop from the previous forecast, and the lowest that number has been so far. The CDC also says hospitalizations will drop between now and mid-April. The CDC just removed about 72,000 COVID deaths from its official tally. The agency telling Reuters it adjusted its COVID data tracker's mortality data on March 14th because its algorithm was accidentally counting deaths that were not COVID related. The adjustment resulted in the removal of more than 72,000 deaths across 26 states, including 416 children. That is 24% fewer child COVID deaths. The American Academy of Pediatrics reports children account for about 19% of all COVID cases, but less than 0.2% of COVID deaths. And the death rates remain low in our area. Butte County reported 2 deaths in the past week, but the rate is 0 per 100,000. In Shasta, the rate is 0.2 per 100,000 and 0 in Tehama County. 6:19 is your time. Up next, a base jump gone wrong in Southern California. We'll tell you about the accident that left a man dead outside a luxury apartment building. And we are taking a live look over Butte County this morning, still awaiting the sunrise after 7. Court Klopping, though, is going to tell us how much longer we can expect this unusually warm weather to continue before a cool down. Don't miss his full forecast straight ahead on Action News Now. It is 6:22. Glad you're with us. You're never more than 10 minutes away from your local weather here on Action News Now. Each and every Thursday morning, we get an update on the drought, and Court is breaking down those new numbers just in this morning. Court, what are you seeing?
Kelly, it's unfortunately going in the direction where you'd probably expect it to after the last couple of dry months. In fact, this has been a dry 2022 so far after a very promising end to 2021, and that puts us back in the extreme drought range in these areas you're seeing shaded in red. That includes the entirety of the valley, and it extends up into Siskiyou County and off to the coast. Severe drought for the northern Sierra and the southern Cascades, as well as mountain areas just south of the Oregon border. As far as where we're sitting with rainfall compared to average, we're now below 60% of average for both Redding and Red Bluff. Corning, 64% of average. Chico still sitting at 72% of average. But again, these values were all well above 100% as we started the new year. And as you get a look at the snowpack, the last time that we looked at this about a week and a half ago, we were sitting at 59%. We're now at 44%, so that's continuing to drop. And we have little rain and snow projected for your extended forecast, so not much help on the way over the next 7 days. Satellite and radar, early this morning, we have mostly clear skies with just a few thin clouds that aren't even prominent enough to show up on the satellite this morning. As we move through the day, what's really driving our forecast is high pressure off the coast and to our east, keeping us dry and warm, but we do have a weak low pressure area that's going to drive some south winds this afternoon. And systems to our north that are wet are going to pull in some clouds. So as you get a look at your hyperlocal futurecast, partly to mostly cloudy skies by this afternoon. Early to midday, it's mostly sunny to partly cloudy. Afternoon hours, more cloud cover on the way. Clouds thinning out a little bit on Friday, but we'll see more returning for the afternoon and evening hours. And then clouds really increasing this weekend. And we do cool down with the chance for a bit of wet weather heading your way. But as you're getting ready to head out the door this morning, t-shirt, flip-flop, sunglasses is a good idea today. We have temperatures topping out mostly in the mid-80s. And really quickly, I want to show you, if you're trying to get some gardening done, the next 5 days really not looking too bad, although there is a chance for showers Sunday evening into Monday of your extended forecast.
Still got to get a lot of gardening done. Thanks for that, Court. U.S. population growth stalls and the most obnoxious co-worker traits to test your patience. Here's Diane King Hall with a look at your money.
Wall Street hit a speed bump on Wednesday as stocks lost ground. The Dow skidded 448 points. The Nasdaq fell 186, and the S&P 500 lost 55. 2021 was the slowest year of population growth in U.S. history. That's according to new census data. The pandemic is largely to blame for deaths outnumbering births. The numbers also show a major shift in population, with many fleeing big cities. New York, Los Angeles, Chicago, and San Francisco collectively lost more than 700,000 people. The Great Resignation is showing no signs of letting up. According to a new survey by Willis Towers Watson, nearly half of employees are looking for a new job this year. 33% are actively job hunting, and more than half of employees say pay is the top reason they are looking for a new gig. 41% say they would leave for just a 5% increase. And the pet peeves of your fellow employees, according to a survey from Quality Logo, being interrupted is the most annoying coworker habit. That was followed by taking credit for someone else's work and oversharing. Nearly half of respondents were less irritated by their colleagues when in a remote setting. Not so fast, though. Top triggers amid the Zoom boom include slow responses, background noise, and eating on camera. And that's your CBS Money Watch report. For more, head to cbsmoneywatch.com. At the CBS Broadcast Center, I'm Diane King Hall.
Yeah, Court, you got to stop interrupting me. Very irritating. All right. Yeah. Airlines are calling for the White House to lift the mask mandates on travel. Yesterday, the CEOs of several major airlines and cargo carriers wrote a letter to President Biden asking to lift mask mandates for travelers and other COVID restrictions, such as pre-departure testing. That letter was signed by the heads of 10 airlines, including Delta, American, and United. The CEOs say their industry has supported the CDC's guidelines and leaned into science at every turn, but say those guidelines no longer make sense as coronavirus cases drop nationwide. Many people got a pet during the pandemic, but now that people are going back to work, there's no one to watch the dogs. One Northern California doggy daycare owner said his business is packed to the brim with pups. He says he's taking on nearly 50 dogs per day, and most of them suffer from separation anxiety from their owners. Experts say it may be time to start training your dogs to be left alone for longer periods. It is 27 after the hour. Coming up, wildfire preparations. What firefighters say you need to know right now and do to keep your home safe during the upcoming fire season. And the homeless shelter near the old BMX site in Chico is almost finished. We'll share what still needs to be done and why they're pushing back that grand opening. Straight ahead on Action News Now.
It definitely is, Kelly. This state of emergency will help repair some of the roads.
Today on Action News Now Mornings, Governor Newsom proclaiming a state of emergency in several local counties. Jafet Serrato will join us live with this new move to help us recover from storms that caused widespread damage. Plus, a successful cleanup in Red Bluff. Find out how much trash was cleared out and why more work is still to be done. And potential scams in Paradise, what you need to be on the lookout for next on Thursday, March 24th on Action News Now. Welcome in. It is 6:30 on your Thursday, almost to Friday. I'm Kelly Sum. You are never more than 10 minutes away from your local weather update. You can count on it each and every morning. Let's check in with Court. And if you're about to step out with the dog, hang on, folks. He's got your forecast for you and your friends. Court.
Kelly, I think those furry friends are going to be very happy anytime getting out and about today. I actually just stepped outside for a moment to see how it feels, and it feels pretty comfortable out there. Mac here certainly would love to get out and fetch the Frisbee today with increasing clouds, but dry and warm conditions. Mostly low to mid-50s for the valley to start the morning, mid-70s by noon today, and then mid-80s for most of us this afternoon, with clouds increasing through the day, but still some sunshine creeping through. So you're also going to want those sunglasses if you're heading out on your walk this morning. I don't even know if you need the light extra layer. It's really take it or leave it early on today. Mostly sunny start to your morning in our mountain zones, with most mountain areas ranging from the upper 20s to mid-30s. By noon, it's mostly mid-60s with increasing clouds. Cloudy for the afternoon as well, with highs topping out in the upper 60s to mid-70s in most mountain zones. And Kelly, in just a few minutes, I am tracking how long these warm temperatures are going to stick around and when we could be seeing showers returning in your extended forecast.
Want to hear about those showers? Thanks, Court. California has declared a state of emergency for 16 counties. This is in response to storms we saw in late October that caused widespread damage. Action News Now reporter Jafet Serrato is live in Chico. And Jafet, is Butte County included in this emergency? Because I know there was some damage here.
It definitely is, Kelly. This state of emergency will help repair some of the roads here in Butte County after that recent rainstorm that happened late October of last year. And it's not the only county in our area that will be getting this kind of help. Glenn, Trinity, and Plumas counties are also part of this state of emergency. This video might help jog your memory a little bit. This is drone video from Caltrans when that rain caused a rock slide to block a huge chunk of Highway 70 near the Butte and Plumas County line. It was eventually cleared up late last year. Governor Newsom's office says this kind of damage is just too much for local governments to handle by themselves. So the state is going to step in to help repair some of that infrastructure that was damaged by this storm. And some of that help includes Caltrans requesting money from the federal government to help repair highways or reconstruct them. Live in Butte County, Jafet Serrato, Action News Now, coverage you can count on.
Thanks, Jafet. And the Office of Emergency Services will assist Glenn and Trinity counties during the state of emergency. Campfire survivors working to rebuild their homes say they're being burned again by unlicensed contractors. Action News Now reporter Tori Apodaca has more on the investigation looking into potential scams.
She would ask for $11,000, I need to order your kitchen cabinets. $20,000, I need to order the roofing.
Skeeter Schutte signed on the dotted line with the contractor after losing her home in the campfire.
I'm at 97% in 3 years later, and I have trusses rotting on the ground. I have mildew, I have open trenches on my property, and she won't answer my emails at this point.
She thinks she is being scammed, claiming the contractor does not even have a license.
She has to be stopped. She can't keep taking money from people.
Colleen Corners also lives in Paradise and is frustrated by what she feels is a lack of interest from the district attorney's office.
We all feel like the DA's not doing anything to stop this.
I asked DA Mike Ramsey specifically about two of the contractors people feel are shady.
We're familiar with those names. And so rather than saying the names, we're familiar, and there's been extensive investigation, including search warrants that have been done. And that investigation is ongoing.
The DA tells me in order for it to be a crime, they need to prove the contractor never intended to build the home.
Or at some point during the contract to take money that they're not entitled to with no intent to finish the job.
Some contractors claim supply chain issues or worker shortages are setting the building process back. The Paradise mayor warns people to be careful before signing any rebuilding contracts.
By law, they can only collect 10% of the contract or $1,000, whichever's greater. Do not give them more money than that.
The violations are there, and they're not paying attention to them.
That was Tori Apodaca reporting. The DA says it's important that you research any potential contractors through the website for the California Contractors State Licensing Board. You can find that link to their website on our website, actionnewsnow.com, under News Links. Nearly 1,300 homes have been rebuilt in Paradise since the Camp Fire. Also, more than 2,000 building permits have been issued and more than 2,200 permit applications received. Local fire departments are urging you to start preparing your home for the upcoming wildfire season now. CAL FIRE said homeowners need to get a jump start. Do it now instead of waiting until May or June. The agency says there are things you can do to protect your property, include creating at least 3 defensible space zones. The first zone extends 5 feet from your home. That means clear all brush. Zone 2 is 30 feet from your property, and then zone 3 should be 100 feet.
100 feet out is the area around your house that you want to keep well maintained. From 30 to 100 feet, you don't have to be working on that as often, but we still want you to maintain it. Don't let those beds of pine needles and leaves or dead foliage more than 3 or 4 inches thick.
He also said it's important people understand their property should look more like a park and not a forest. Redding's Fire Department has new recruits after a long staffing shortage. They hope the new recruits make it through the process to have more help available in case of emergencies or the next big wildfire.
We were able to recruit 11 personnel, so with this, that should bring all of our existing vacancies due to retirements and ongoing shortages that the Redding Fire Department have faced in the past. This should take care of that and get us fully staffed.
Big deal in Redding, we had the car fire, so things like that show the need for the fire department, and it makes you want to serve the community and be a part of helping out and protecting when that happens.
After the next 6 weeks, Academy recruits will have to complete more tasks to completely land the job. Those recruits will be assigned to engines as the 3rd person on board and will undergo a probationary year. The opening of Chico's city-run homeless shelter at the old BMX site is being pushed back. There are still some loose ends to tie up. The city needs to hire employees and determine the rules for people living at the site. The city of Chico had planned on opening the shelter site by the end of this month, but city manager Mark Orm tells us they have to push the date back.
I mean, deadlines should be upheld, but then again, I can't just say that without knowing what the problems that they're facing. So, hoping that they have enough resources to get everything done in time.
I think it has good intentions behind it, it seems like, and if it works as planned, and if there is good detailed planning going into it, and it works, I think that'll be a great thing. It's just, it seems pretty complicated, like a lot could go wrong.
The shelters are done, but the city also needs to wrap up construction on other buildings at the site before they open. The city of Chico has been working on this shelter site since mid-January. As the fighting continues in Ukraine, so does the struggle for millions to escape. Here's a live look over the capital of Ukraine this morning. Now, just this morning in the last hour, for the first time, the U.S. confirms the U.S. will bring some of these refugees from Ukraine here to the States. A U.S. official announced the United States will welcome up to 100,000 refugees from Ukraine. In all, 3.5 million people have fled from Russia's invasion. Jay Gray reports from Warsaw, Poland, with the latest on the human crisis unfolding there.
The toll from a full month of war stretches across so much of Ukraine right now. Cities and lives torn apart by Russian bombs and missiles, hitting civilian targets, including hospitals, shopping malls, apartments, and homes, leaving more than 10 million without a place to live or the necessities to survive.
We don't have food, we don't have electricity, we don't have water, warm, in the houses. So it's terrible for now.
More than 3.5 million have escaped across the border, most traveling to Poland. Warsaw taking on more than any other city.
We have accepted 300,000 people in Warsaw alone, which means that the population of our city has increased by almost 20% in a matter of 3 weeks.
Refugees receiving free education and health care. That's support, stretching city services to their limits.
We cannot improvise anymore. At a peak, a week ago, I had to call other mayors of Polish and European cities in the middle of the night to ask them to help us out.
A plea Warsaw's mayor will share with President Biden during his visit Friday.
We need American help in dealing with refugees. Some relocation, financial help.
With a second wave, millions of refugees already rushing toward the border. Jay Gray, NBC News, Warsaw.
And President Joe Biden will travel to Poland on Friday. He plans to meet with the Polish president. 6:41 is your time. You're never more than 10 minutes away from your local weather on Action News Now. Cord, I just realized tomorrow's Friday. We have to start making the plans for the weekend, and hopefully we'll have some nice weather, but looking forward to some rain as well.
Kelly, we've got the best of both worlds heading through as we move into your weekend forecast. If you're hoping for warm and dry conditions for some outdoor activities, you're in luck. If you're hoping for the chance for cooler temperatures and showers, you're also in luck. A lot going on through the weekend. Now, here's a live look outside right now. This is a look from Dyer Mountain, which is just to the east of Lake Almanor in Plumas County, and it's looking to the southeast. You can see that gorgeous sunrise we're about to have for most of us early on today. Now, this location is a little further east than where most of you watching this live, so this is something you can look forward to because it's on the way. Not seeing the sun rising over the crest for most of us just yet. Temperatures this morning in the 50s in the valley and foothills right now, a mild morning. So it doesn't really look like you'll need to bundle up. Maybe a light extra layer if this is a bit brisk for you. 20s to 30s in our mountain areas this morning. Wind not very strong out of the northeast and mostly calm. We'll end up with south winds up to around 10 to 15 miles an hour later today. Similar winds tomorrow, lighter in the morning and then picking up a little bit in the afternoon, but really nothing to write home about or no big impacts on any outdoor plans. Saturday, we see winds increasing a little bit more for the afternoon, and then Saturday night, that's when some gustier south winds are projected to return as a wet system starts to close in on the west coast, and that looks to track inland to our south Sunday into Monday. Satellite and radar showing clear skies this morning, but clouds are expected to be pulled across our region today as a weak area of low pressures along the coast, but we do have high pressure to our west and east, keeping us dry and warm. As we move forward in your forecast, those clouds heading through today, clearing out a little bit on Friday and then more cloud cover Saturday as this wet system tracks south and takes aim at Southern California. By Sunday morning, we're seeing mostly cloudy skies. By Sunday evening, a chance for showers. Sunday night into Monday, early to midday, looks to be the best chance for wet weather, and then that tapers off by early Tuesday morning. Rain totals, meanwhile, looks like we could be seeing up to around 1/3 of an inch in some parts of the valley and some of our higher elevations. Higher elevations seeing a chance for a couple inches of snowfall as well. Most areas above 4,000 feet seeing a chance for a little dusting of snow, but really nothing to write home about. Highs today topping out in the mid-80s for the valley. We'll end up in the 60s to 70s if you're in the foothills or mountains on this Thursday afternoon. And a couple of cities could end up setting high temperature records today. The projections do set new records for Red Bluff as well as Willows. I'll be taking a little bit more of an in-depth look at that later on today. And meanwhile, your Storm Tracker 7-day forecast for your weekend's always in view. Low 80s and dry Friday with increasing clouds Saturday and then more cloud cover and cooling down Sunday. The chance for showers as early as Sunday evening, but more likely late Sunday night through midday Monday. That chance for showers then wraps up by early Tuesday. Monday, the coolest day of your extended forecast, then getting warmer and staying mostly dry for next week.
Thank you, Court. Right now it is 44 minutes after the hour, and this morning we're keeping an eye on your money. We'll have a live look at the opening numbers from Wall Street. Plus tragedy in San Diego, what we know about this base jump that went horribly wrong. And more than 100,000 pounds of trash cleaned up in Red Bluff. A look at what this area looks like today. Straight ahead on Action News Now. Oh my gosh, I was wiped. Welcome back, 647. Here's a live look at the stock market. Both the Dow and the NASDAQ in positive territory for the first 15 minutes of trading. The Dow, you see, is up 74 points. And Uber today gained about 3% after the company announced a deal to list all New York City taxis on its app. On the downside, KB Home dropped 6.2% after an earnings miss. On the data front, initial jobless claims last week totaled 187,000. That's the lowest level since 1969. The Labor Department reported this morning. Sad news now, a man fell to his death while attempting to base jump off the top of a 23-story building in San Diego Tuesday. In this case, it went horribly wrong, and authorities believe that man's teenage child saw it happen. Mimi Akala reports.
That's really, really terrible news. I'm very sorry.
A tragic scene outside of Palisade UTC, a 23-story luxury apartment building in University City. San Diego police say a 48-year-old man whose name is not being publicly released at this time was attempting to base jump off of the roof of the building when something went wrong and he fell to his death. Police say he was wearing base jumping gear, including a helmet, and sadly, they believe his teenage daughter witnessed that jump.
At this point, we believe that his daughter was up on the rooftop with him and was able to view what happened.
Police say she was taken to the hospital to be checked on. They say it appears she was only observing and not planning on participating.
And our hearts go out, obviously, to his daughter and to the rest of his family.
Expert skydivers tell ABC 10 News base jumping can be extremely dangerous because there's not enough distance or time to problem solve if something does go wrong.
We're unclear as to whether the parachute malfunctioned or if it just didn't have enough time to open up properly and deploy.
Over the years, we've seen a number of base jumpers in San Diego, like this incident from 2018, when a man jumped and landed successfully in the East Village, or in 2019, when a man and woman jumped together. In those cases, no one was hurt, but police greeted all three with handcuffs.
This exact reason is why there's a crime in place.
Captain Wall says base jumping can lead to misdemeanor charges.
Being a misdemeanor, it can be a citable offense, and it could potentially be a bookable offense.
He says that's important to deter people and prevent tragedies like this.
BASE is an acronym for the categories of objects that people leap from: buildings, antenna, spans, and earth, such as cliffs. At least 5 people were injured in this shooting at an Arizona outlet mall. It happened yesterday in Glendale. Police say the shooting stemmed from a fight between 2 groups of people. All of the victims in that shooting were taken to the hospital. Police say 2 of them were children. All are now in stable condition. It is 6:50. You're never more than 10 minutes away from your local weather. We're keeping an eye on the weather and the roads this morning. No major crashes at this hour. Court Klopping has your forecast. How's it looking out there, Court?
Smooth sailing as far as the weather forecast is concerned on our travel impacts. This is that live look at Highway 99 in Butte County, just south of Chico, and you're not seeing any impacts here. The roads are dry. We have mostly clear skies to start the day, but those clouds are going to be increasing throughout the morning hours, and will be partly cloudy to mostly cloudy later today, with temperatures that are just about as warm this afternoon as what we saw yesterday. 50s for your way out the door in most foothill and valley areas, mostly 30s in our mountain zones with mostly sunny skies, but for your commute home, partly to mostly cloudy skies with a little sunshine creeping through. Temperatures in the 80s still in the valley, mostly 70s in the foothills, and 60s to low 70s in our mountain zones for your commute home later today. And maybe you're thinking past the end of your workday and looking forward to that weekend. Well, your tea time forecast looking pretty great for playing 18 Saturday. Lows in the upper 40s to low 50s with highs in the 70s to lower 80s, partly cloudy and dry. Sunday, a chance for showers mainly arriving in the evening. Temperatures in the 40s to 50s in the morning, topping out in the 60s to lower 70s for the afternoon.
Thanks, Court. Cleanup efforts are underway in Red Bluff. During phase 1 of the Honda Hills cleanup, local departments removed 80,000 pounds of waste, 50,000 pounds of metal, 25,000 pounds of tires, and 7 vehicles, all in just 2 days. You see what it looked like before the cleanup? Now, a much better sight right there. The final phase of the operation will be completed by March 29th. Crews expect to remove an additional 120,000 pounds of trash. Happening today, Chico State is hosting the 17th annual This Way to Sustainability. the country's largest student-run conference focused on sustainability. It returns today and tomorrow. It will be virtual, allowing everyone to watch more than 50 speakers and presenters as they share their research. Both days are free for students at any school. For everyone else, the price is $50 per day or $75 for the full conference. We have a link where you can register on actionnewsnow.com under News Links. A heads up for drivers in Reading. Starting today, road work is happening along Abernathy Lane between Viking Lane and Tarmac Road. There will be lane closures through mid-April. They're working on the wastewater lift station, in the transfer station, and installing pipe. The work will be happening at night between 5 p.m. and 7 a.m. You could see traffic controls or detours. And happening today and tomorrow, a radiothon raising money for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Local radio stations K Shasta and The Wolf will air local St. Jude radiothons all day today and tomorrow from 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. You can listen to your local DJs on 104.3 or 95.7 on your FM dial. It's all to support St. Jude Children's Research Hospital, which provides children with the very best cancer care in the world at no cost to families. This morning, March Madness is in the air in San Francisco. The Sweet 16 tips off today at Chase Center. Chase Center has gone through quite a transformation. Now, this was right after the Warriors lost to the Spurs on Sunday. And coming up, what it looked like last night as crews were putting on the finishing touches before the college basketball games. This is the regional. Tickets were almost sold out for today's event, with the cheapest tickets starting around $400. Some fans are willing to pay the price to watch Duke's legendary Coach K in what could be the final game of his career.
Just as a fan in general, you don't necessarily need to know anything about basketball, but I think when you hear Coach K, it's just like a legendary name.
Honestly, just history, you know, like everything with Team USA, all of that, so it's just super cool. And I don't think it's going to be the last game because I think they're going to be in the Final Four.
And number 2, Duke will face number 3 seed Texas Tech tonight at 6:30. The early game today, Arkansas versus Gonzaga, tips off at 4 p.m.
Straight ahead on Action News Now, it's 6 a.m. Mostly clear start to your day, but clouds are increasing. Will we end up as warm as we've been over the last few days? And when could showers be returning? A lot going on, and I'm tracking it for you right after this.
And here's a recap of today's top stories. The DMV is changing the way you can take your written driving test. You can now take it right from the comfort of your home online. You just need a computer with a web camera to monitor that you don't cheat. This remote exam is available for anyone looking to renew their license, people getting their license for the first time, and people who want to get a real ID or a motorcycle license. California has declared a state of emergency for 16 counties due to the damage caused in October storms, and those include Butte, Glenn, Plumas, and Trinity counties. This drone video shows the rain that caused a rock slide to block part of Highway 70 near the Butte-Plumas County line. The governor's office said this kind of damage is too much for local governments to handle by themselves. The state is going to step in to help repair some of the infrastructure that was damaged by the storm. In Trinity County, deputies tracked down this man wanted for breaking into a home, a break-in caught on camera. Deputies released these surveillance photos from the burglary that happened yesterday on Goose Ranch Road in Lewiston. Security footage showed this man with a red and white motorcycle had broken in and rode off. And when the CHP tried to pull him over on Highway 299, they say he abandoned his motorcycle and ran. They eventually did track him down, taking him into custody. It's 6:58. You're never more than 10 minutes away from your local weather on Action News Now. Court Klopping has a final look at your forecast and a beautiful look outside this morning. Court?
Kelly, that's right. The clouds that have already started to move in, they're fairly thin, but they're making for a gorgeous sunrise. This is that live look from Bald Mountain.